Yo, who the hell is Volstagg and why should you give a damn about his off world dealings when he's not slaying, baddies with Thor and them? I'm going to tell you why in this review of Captain America and Volstagg. Yeah, that's the title. Anyway. Yo, once again, all my comic books are snatched up at Red Nails 2 here in Toronto. They sell cards, they sell comic books. I'm not affiliated. Someday, no, probably never. But anyway, check them out if you're ever in the city of Toronto. Been going there since like 92, 93. And I'm probably not going to stop anytime soon. It's a habit, I can't control it. So, yeah, Captain America and Volstagg. As you can see, I went with the cover. I love the whole Marvel like one shot thing they're doing here because I'm not a big, big two comic book reader. I'm not big in Marvel and DC. I prefer indie, but I do like the characters in both of those genres. I'm just not necessarily big into necessarily all the lore, like really reading a lot of them. And this book is a prime example why I don't read a lot of the big two. The story is, like I said, let's start with the art. The art kind of drew me in a bit. I love the color. I love some of the artwork. It was decent. It was colorful and it was detailed. I love that aspect of it. So, I was into it for that. I'm a sucker for that, for the artwork. Coming from an art background myself. What I was not into was necessarily the story. And, part of I guess part of it is that, it was weird. It just seemed unnecessary. Volstagg, Captain America's drawn in to kind of help Volstagg, whoever the heck this dude is. I'm guessing he's from Asgard. He's part of Thor's team. But other than that, I don't know what the significance of him in the Marvel universe. But they decided, hey, he'd be a good dude to give a background story on. So Captain America is summoned to help him clean up his scumbag ends, his scumbag loose ends, when he's off world from Asgard, and plundering and smashing and destroying the bad guys. He like any red-blooded man needs some downtime, and usually his downtime means smashing other things. So Captain America is summoned to help him clean up some loose ends on that end. And it's an interesting story. Like I said, as far as Asgard goes with me, I think there's just so much waste when it comes to that. Like this in particular, like it's I don't think Volstagg's enough to go, and create a whole, thing about necessarily. But the premise of Asgard, like Lord of the Rings potential when it comes to that world, like the stories that can be told about that are endless. And I think it's kind of wasted here a little bit. It's interesting, is what I'll say. It's not necessarily super entertaining, but it's interesting, especially if you're not really into the big two and you don't want to get too pulled in and start collecting all kinds of issues and things like that about these characters. I think it's a very good intro to Captain America. It doesn't go. Captain America doesn't play a big role in this story. I mean, as far as his connections and understanding his place in the universe and stuff like that. The fact that he was summoned, is mentioned in the book, and the reason why, right? But it's just not. It's one of those, like, if you have time, you know what I mean? It's one of those stories like, if you have time, if you're on the toilet, if you're at the laundromat, like it's you got 10 or 15 minutes because it went pretty quick. I don't know if it's definitely I'm not definitely not gonna go back and read it again. But if it was like an animated, like if it was a short like 15-minute animated, I think it would have been a lot more, compelling. It would have been a lot more, I think it would have just been more entertaining that way. Because I mean, a comic book for me is like I want to go in depth. Like whenever I read anything, I want to go more in depth, and this was really just a flash in the pan, and it was kind of an unnecessary read because I still don't care about Volstagg. So that wasn't well done. And if he shows up in another story somewhere, if I, you know, somewhere in another one shot or whatever, a miniseries, then whatever. But I don't care enough to have been recommended this book. Like it's Captain America and Volstagg. Like if it was a Captain America story and Volstagg, yeah, but it's more like Volstagg and Captain America. And if I'd been sold on it that way, I probably wouldn't have picked this up. So this is a dump it for me. Just not enough meat in the story, even though it's like, it's like I said, it's entertaining enough. It's just not anything to necessarily give a damn about. So, yeah, it's a dump it for me. Uh, if should ever have it lent to you or something, or if they do something else with it, or you get it free, way to go. But other than that, no, it wasn't. It wasn't a hit for me. So yeah, it's a dump it. If you want any more details on it, if you don't know for sure if you're gonna pick it up or whatever someday, if you just want to know anything about it, hit me up at my Blue Sky. It's at starcadelounge.com. Hit me up there for any information, any little details that you want to know, and I will give you as much as I can without super spoiling it for you or anything like that. So that's my review of Captain America and Volstagg. Until the next, y'all take it easy, live life, peace and guidance, and all that other stuff. Later.